Hi, everybody. My name is Shelby Dwyer, and I'm a counselor at University Health and Counseling Services, and I'm also a licensed certified yoga teacher. This is Yoga for Mental Wellness, and I went for like a little Halloween theme. We can see, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got a little teeny tiny pumpkin here. Should move it here. And a little meditating skeleton here. Oops, you can't see it, but right here. And then this giant skeleton pillow as well. So, you know, Halloween, it's my favorite holiday. So for today's practice, we are going to be doing Yin Yoga per usual. You should not need any props, but if you want to maybe grab like a blanket or socks if you're practicing in your house, and you might feel a little bit cold because the practice is a lot more slower and we hold postures so the body temperature comes down. So you might want to grab some layers or a blanket for Shavasana, but again, you shouldn't need any props. And please take care of yourself. You know your body best, so do what works best for you. Everything that I offer in this class is just that. It's an offering, not anything that you have to do. And also just be aware throughout today's practice as well of when you notice that you have an urge to go deeper in a pose and when you maybe feel like you could stay where you are. Noticing when you want to go deeper might potentially be a sign of the ego rather than actually being present in the practice. So it's something we'll kind of revisit as we go along today. And additionally, today's practice is going to focus on kind of like shedding what we don't need. We're having a lot of the leaves start to change here in Boston, and the weather is a bit crisper and cooler, and we're shifting into autumn and fall. And so this practice will sort of honor that and also invite you to go a little bit more inward to see what is it that maybe you're holding on to in your life that you might be able to release. So let me get some tea. Go ahead and make your way onto your back. And extend your legs long up towards the ceiling once you're there. If you have a wall nearby, you can always rest your legs up against the wall, bringing your seat fully flush up against the wall for more traditional legs up the wall. But you could also just keep your legs suspended. Lift your head for a moment, tuck your chin toward your chest, rest your head back down, just to make sure that there's length in the back of your neck, ensuring that your chin is parallel with the floor. You might, as I'm doing, rest your hands on your belly. You could rest your arms alongside you, or maybe even have your arms in a goalpost shape above your head, just to give your chest a little bit more of an opening. Maybe even a slight extension through your shoulders. My feet are soft. They're not necessarily flexed. I have a little bit of a bend in my knees, and I'm just kind of letting my legs be suspended above my hips. So you might take a few really deep inhales and exhales, maybe sighing out the mouth as you exhale. It's late afternoon here, so my exhales, my sighing out the mouth is kind of releasing my day. Depending on what time you're practicing this, maybe it's a way to sort of reset for the day, to start your day. But letting that breath, again, just release anything that might not be serving you in this moment. Allowing those exhales to release any thoughts, ruminations, any worries that you might have. Maybe even releasing any tension that might be lingering in your body. If at any point any tingling starts to happen in any of your limbs or anything starts to get a little cold or numb, you can always gently adjust. So for me, my hands are getting a little bit tingly, so I'm going to move them down to my belly. I just realized for me, my knees were starting to come back closer toward my chest. And so you might encourage your legs so that your knees are a bit more over your hips. Do that every time. Sorry, I put my computer on Do Not Disturb and I closed down my email, but apparently something is still open. That makes a noise. So we might hear some noises coming from my computer, but we'll breathe through it. We'll release it, acknowledge it, and release it. So we'll be here for about another minute or so. You might take this opportunity to just check in with yourself and notice where you're at today. What prompted you to roll out your mat and practice? Is there something that you need? Something that you're longing for or missing? Is there something you need to release? See if you can be fully present with your body and your mind in this moment. Knowing that any worries or to-dos that you have, you can come to after the practice. Slowly bend your knees. Maybe hug your knees into your chest for a moment. Maybe gently rock from side to side just to massage out your spine. You might even roll your ankles out, holding your shins. Maybe point and flex your toes. If you rolled your ankles out, make sure you roll out the opposite direction. I like to also just kind of extend and bend my legs a few times, just to get things moving after they were stagnant in that upright suspension. And then as you feel ready, lower your legs down. You'll walk your left ankle out towards, or left foot out towards the left. And then you'll drape your right ankle over your left, so crossing your legs. Keeping your torso relatively center on your mat, you'll start to arc up and over to your left side. I'm sorry, I'm going to show a little bit of belly. But almost making like a half moon shape on your mat. So coming into Bananasana. So banana pose. You might reach your arms long overhead, kind of draping your right arm over your head. You might encourage your legs to kind of move forward to the left. And then at the same time, lengthen through your torso. So maybe reaching your arms overhead and then arcing again over to the left. Your gaze can be up towards the ceiling or maybe over towards the left side of your space. This pose opens up the right side of our ribs, the right side of our waist. You might even feel some extension and opening across the outside of your right shoulder, maybe even your armpit on your right arm. Allow your feet and your legs to be relaxed. Your arms are also relaxed and soft. Maybe direct your breath towards the right side of your waist. If having your arms overhead is a little bit too much and maybe causes some numbing sensation, you can always bring your arms to more of a goalpost shape. Or maybe drape your right arm over your torso, extending your left arm long, somewhere at like a 45-ish degree angle from your shoulder. In these moments where we're more still, the mind might wander and you might have all these thoughts come into your brain. Or you might find that it's difficult to sit still. Notice if any of those impulses, whether it's a thought or an urge to move, if any of those might actually be released. And if perhaps you don't need to engage in them in that moment. So for example, if you have the urge, it's kind of funny, but the urge to scratch your nose, right? Can you watch that urge almost like a wave and see it rise, right? Oop, itch, itch, itch. I really want to itch. Oh my gosh, I need to itch my nose. But notice what happens when you don't engage. Eventually, at some point, that sensation dissipates. The itch or the urge to itch dissipates. And this kind of statement can be true as well for emotions that might arise within the body. Just as we can witness sensation shift and change and arise and decrease within our body, we can also witness emotions. So holding space for that sensation of that itch, similar to holding space for an emotion and being present with it. When we can acknowledge it and be with it, it dissipates more quickly. And I know what you're thinking, I'm totally not making this up, and we are going to move soon. So keep taking those deep breaths into the right side of your ribs. But there is research that supports this. There was a study that I read that talked about how emotions sometimes might not actually last more than 90 seconds. And so if you set a timer and you sit with an emotion and you feel it and you're just like with it and in it, once those 90 seconds have passed, if you are still feeling a certain way, the study said that people were actually choosing to continue to feel that emotion. I know, right? Oof. Take a big, deep breath in here. Exhale. Slowly bring your arms back to center, your legs back to center. Extend your legs long for a moment and just notice if there's any difference between right leg and left leg, particularly along the inner leg lines of your legs. Notice if there's any difference between your right arm and left arm underneath your arms, your shoulders. As you feel ready, gently bring your right ankle off towards the right side of your mat. Drape your left ankle over your right, crossing your legs. Keeping your midsection as relatively neutral in the center of your mat, you'll start to arc up and over your right side. So maybe kind of walking your shoulders over towards the right. Maybe bringing your arms long overhead, draping your left arm over your head. Gaze might be towards the ceiling or towards the right, whatever feels better on your neck. And then here in Bananasana, like never gets old saying it. I encourage you right now, just say Bananasana. Right? It's kind of funny. So in this banana pose, or sort of like a crescent moon shape, can you direct your breath now to the left side of your ribs, the left side of your waist? You might notice a stretch now across the left side of your waist, maybe even on the top and left side of your hips. Maybe there's a stretch underneath your left arm and your armpit. If you notice that there's any compression or tension in your neck, lowering your left arm will help with that. So maybe bringing your left arm to more of a goalpost shape. Again, this is a really, really beautiful opportunity to breathe really deeply. Maybe allowing every inhale to just reach those deep pockets in your lungs that you don't normally breathe into. Imagine that your breath might sort of clear out any stagnant energy or stale breath that might be lingering in your body. I'm going to sit up for just a moment to grab a sip of tea, but you can stay in Bananasana. So while these first few poses we've done might feel a bit more restorative or relaxing, maybe not. Maybe they're agitating or active or distracting. I don't know. But it might feel maybe easier or not. But Yin Yoga really is not a restorative practice or necessarily designed to offer relaxation. It was technically created in the 1970s by someone named Paulie Zink, who has more of a martial arts background, but he studied Taoism and traditional Chinese medicine and created this practice, Yin Yoga, which focuses not on the muscles in the body, but on the connective tissues in the body, so the joints and ligaments and fascia and the bones as well. It's a much more grounded practice, focuses usually more on the lower body. And it's a really strong complementary practice to like a gym workout, a bar workout, Pilates, Vinyasa yoga, anything that's like a running practice, anything that's a bit more energetic or yang. We'll be here for about 1 more minute or so. Actually, I have a few more minutes. I think I want to make sure I'm even. Big, deep breaths, allowing you to release any tension in your body. So in my work as a therapist, I found that Yin Yoga can be really complementary to helping the body tolerate, or helping our brain learn how to tolerate more challenging emotions. Because in the practice of Yin Yoga, as you might see today, we come into a shape and we find our edge. So the place where we feel we're experiencing some sensation in a target area. Not too intense, not too gentle. And then we hold in relative stillness in that shape for a sustained period of time, sometimes up to 8 minutes. And we learn, similarly as what I was saying before with watching emotions or watching your nose itch and not engaging in it, is that slowly those intense sensations start to dissipate. The body acclimates to it. The sense of urgency is reduced. And so we're holding space for sensation to arise within our body. We're practicing aparigraha, right? Non-attachment, one of the yoga principles, ethical principles, niyamas. By holding space, by not identifying with it or having attachment to it, it allows for the sensation, for the emotion, whatever it might be, to slowly start to dissipate and lessen in its intensity. Big, full, nourishing breath in here. Exhale, gently bring your legs back to center. Lower your arms down by your side for a moment. Maybe rest them on your belly if that would feel more comfortable. And just pause again in stillness, lying on your mat. Notice if maybe there's a bit more sense of equilibrium within your body, having done both sides in Bananasana. Check in with the quality of your thoughts, the quality of your mind, the quality of your breath. Has anything changed from when you first stepped onto your mat today? Wherever you are, meet yourself where you're at. There's no need to try to conform or shift your mindset. Honoring yourself where you're at in this moment. As you feel ready, you'll flip over like a pancake coming onto your stomach. And you'll actually bend your elbows so that your arms are almost in like a 90-degree angle from the ground. You can rest your forehead on the ground. I'm going to lift my head just so that y'all can hear me. But this is basically like you're getting ready to do a low push-up, right? Or coming into like an upward facing dog if you were practicing Vinyasa yoga. But first, with your head down, just kind of play around with the distance of your ankles and your feet. the width, of your legs. So noticing if you take the legs farther apart, maybe there feels like there's a little bit more space in your low back. Bringing the legs closer together might increase some tension in the low back. We're going to move through just a couple of low cobras, but moving with our breath. So when you're ready, inhale, press your arms, press your hands into your mat. Slowly lift your heart, but not too much. We want to come up maybe just a little bit, like halfway coming up, as if you were going to straighten the arms, but halfway to that. So when you reach the fullness of your inhale, exhale, gently lower your chest towards the ground. Your forehead should reach the ground at the end of your exhale. So again, moving with your breath. Inhale, begin to straighten the arms, lift your heart. Exhaling, lowering, slowly moving with your breath at your own pace. Do 3 rounds on your own. Legs are heavy behind you. The muscles in your legs and your back are relaxed. Your arms are using some effort. At the end of your third breath, go ahead and wing your elbows out to the side. Stack your palms. Maybe turn your head to one side. Gently wiggle your hips from side to side. Just releasing any tension that might be in your low back. Take some deep, full breaths. Seeing if you can actually direct your breath to your low belly so that you could almost massage your back with your breath internally. Now, as you feel ready, we'll start, I'm gonna flip over just so that y'all can see me when I do this. We're gonna try something new. This is called broken wing, which I feel like there should be a less sad name for it. So I'll think of that, but if you have suggestions, feel free to type them into the chat. So you're gonna extend your right arm long, out along the floor, coming out directly from your shoulder. Excuse me, let me actually do a different side, I'm sorry. You're gonna extend your left arm long along the floor so that your wrist is coming out directly from your shoulder. And then you're gonna slowly press your right hand into the floor in front of your face. Begin to roll your body over onto your side so that you feel some compression in your left shoulder. You don't want to feel any pinching or burning or anything like that. You might not go too far. We don't want to rip or tear anything, right? We want to be really careful. This is a tender, tender spot. You might bend your right leg, stamping your right foot behind your left knee. Maybe it feels better to have the foot in front of your left knee, whatever works for you. It's kind of finding what feels best. Your head can stay resting on the mat. And see if you can make sure that your left shoulder is pulling away from your ear, so not hiked up near your shoulder. You might have to gently ease out of the twist in order to do that. To come into more of a full expression of this pose, you'll reach your right arm long behind you and just let it hang in the air, pulling the shoulder blades together and long down your spine, reaching your arms away from you. And here you might feel quite a bit of pressure in your left shoulder, specifically maybe even the top of your left shoulder. If at any point anything is numb or there's burning or it feels like something's pulling too hard or tearing, gently ease out of the shape. We won't be here for too long. This can be a really nice chest opener and sort of counteracts all of the hunching that we do over our computers. It's a nice way to really stretch out the shoulders too. I don't think we give our shoulders enough love. Breathe really deeply here. Hi, Luca. And Luca's here. Hi, Luca. I don't know if you can see him because he kind of blends in, but he's just now propped himself alongside me. Yes, Luca, your adoring fans are here. Hey, baby. Take a full deep breath in. Exhale, gently begin to unwind your body. Come to lie back down on your stomach, maybe stacking one hand on top of the other, turning your head to opposite cheek. Luca is in his chair. Notice I said his chair. It's my chair, but really it's Luca's. I just occasionally get to sit in it when I need to do work. It might feel good, instead of keeping your arms bent or elbows out to the side, you might actually just drape your arms alongside you, palms face up, down near your hips or your thighs, just to kind of let the shoulder blade, the head of your shoulder rest. With that theme of releasing, right? Releasing any tension, letting all the muscles be soft in your body, really letting your body be supported by the ground beneath you. Stay here and continue to take some deep, full breaths. And then as you feel ready, I went and switched sides. Now you'll extend your right arm long. See if we actually show you sitting up. So you pretend you're laying on the ground. You'll extend your right arm long so that the arm in your hand is coming directly out from the shoulder. And then you'll slowly begin to press your left hand into the mat, into the floor next to your face, and begin to slowly start to roll over onto your side, maybe stamping your left foot outside your right leg or maybe on the inside of your right leg, whatever works for you. Make sure that your right shoulder is pulled away from your ear so that there's space. Hi. Hi, big boy. And here you might feel some pressure in the top of your right shoulder, even the inside of your right shoulder. You might hear Luca purring. You remember from the first side that we aren't here for too long, so that this sensation, albeit it might be intense, the sensation is temporary. If you want to take this into the full expression, you can begin to pull your left arm back behind you, kind of letting it sort of hang, but keeping it straight. Pulling your shoulder blades together down your back. Good boy. If at any point anything feels like it's starting to get numb or it feels like it's pulling or tearing, we want to ease out of that. So always knowing that you have the option of rolling gently a bit more onto your belly, pressing your left hand into the mat to offer you some extra support. Take really deep breaths here, allowing your ribs to wing out side to side, maybe even allowing the belly to expand. Breathing with the sensation that you might be experiencing. And notice if there's anything anywhere in your body that you might be holding or clenching, and see if you can soften. I don't know if you can see this, but I was out for most of the morning and for part of the afternoon, and Luca apparently is now biting my head, but he needs a lot of attention apparently when he's away from me. Take a full breath in here. Gently let it go. Slowly begin to unwind yourself. Oof, there's some tightness in that shoulder. And then lengthen your arms alongside you, palms face up, turn your cheek to the opposite side. You might bend your knees and kind of swish your legs back and forth. Seeing if that releases any tension in your low back. Can you not eat my hair, Luca? No. Thank you. I'm going to sit up because he's eating my hair, but you can continue to lie down with your arms long alongside you. Really just letting your shoulders settle. Take a big, deep breath in here. And release. Slowly bring your arms, your hands back up toward your shoulders. Use your arms to push your hips back toward your heels. We're going to move into what I like to call Luca stretch. He just left, but he was here and he did the Luca stretch, but off camera. So it's Anahatasana, which is a melting heart pose. So keeping your hips over your knees, you'll start to walk your arms long forward, melting your heart towards the mat, eventually coming down and resting either your chin or your forehead on the mat, but letting your heart really drop towards the floor. And so here, it's again, we're getting a really big opener across our shoulders. There might even be a stretch across your spine. I like to kind of play with letting my belly hang and then also engaging my core, pulling everything in, and then really pressing my hands into the floor, straightening really firmly through my arms. And alternating that with having my arms long, but letting them kind of rest more, forearms on the floor. Again, being mindful that your hips are stacked over your knees. If this feels like a bit too much compression on your neck, what I like to do is bend my elbows out to the side, stack my hands, and instead of having my arms long, I rest my forehead on the back of my palms. For me, I'm still getting a stretch across my shoulders, my upper arms. There's still this same sensation across my back, my spine, but my neck, my cervical spine is more supported. We'll be here for less than a minute. Again, see if you can breathe through the discomfort. Recognizing that this sensation is temporary. Take 2 more full, nourishing breaths. Slowly, after your 2 breaths, begin to straighten through your arms, push your torso back upright, and then either keeping your knees close together or maybe taking them as wide as your mat. Sit your hips back toward your heels. Yogi's choice, you can extend your arms long again in front of you, but really letting them just rest. You could also allow your arms to drape alongside you, fingertips graze your feet in more of an embryo shape. Forehead rests on your mat. Wherever you are in child's pose or embryo pose, breathe really deeply so that you can feel the expansion of your belly as it grazes your thighs. Allow your body to be in more of this tucked in, cozy cocoon shape for a moment. Your hips are heavy, reaching back toward your heels. You might even bring your hands to your low back and just kind of smooth your hips forward and down. You might not move much, but you might notice that it invites a bit of a stretch across the top of your thighs, and it encourages a heaviness to your hips. Big deep breath in. And sigh it out. Slowly lift your torso upright for a moment. Maybe come forward and tuck your toes. Sit your hips back onto your heels with your toes tucked. You might have to kind of reach around and make sure that your pinky toes are untucked as well. And then come to sit upright for a moment, just to get a little bit of a stretch to the undersides of your feet. Sorry if you can hear my fire alarm going off. There's one on another floor that needs new batteries, and our neighbors need to change it. So we did a lot of our work today didn't really require our feet, so just inviting in a little bit of a stretch. Long, straight spine, shoulders over your hips. Chin parallel towards the floor. In this brief moment of pause, you might feel that sensation in your feet. Can you also check in with yourself again for one more moment? As we begin to wind down this practice, is there anything else that you might need to release from your body? Anything you might need to release from your mind? Slowly walk your arms forward so that you can come off of your toes, maybe tap your tops of your feet against your mat. And then, however you get there, come to lie down on your back. I'm going to move our little skeleton friend off to the side because he's kind of falling anyway. Yes, he still has the tag on him. I haven't cut it off. And I don't know why I've given him male pronouns. I don't know his gender. So lie down on your back. Give your knees a squeeze when you get there. Just notice if there's anything different about this when you're hugging your knees into your chest now versus how we did at the start of your practice today. Lower your feet down to the mat when you feel ready. And then gently lift your hips up and over to the left side of your mat. Keeping your shoulders flush against the mat, drop your knees over towards the right. Maybe bringing your right arm to the top of your left thigh, kind of coaxing the thigh down a little bit more to increase the stretch across your outer left hip. Chin is parallel to the floor, so you might need to lift your head, tuck your chin for a moment. And your gaze can be towards the ceiling, or to exacerbate the twist a little bit, you can gaze over towards the left side of your space. Your left arm might rest on your torso, or maybe it just rests alongside you on the floor. You might use this opportunity to sort of play with sensation of your fascia in your body. And you might lift your left arm overhead, and notice how that shifts the stretch across the left side of your waist, maybe even across the outer left sides of your legs. Outer side of your left leg, rather. Wherever you are, breathe deeply into the left side of your waist. The further away your knees are from your right shoulder, the more experience. Wow, words are hard today, y'all. The more you may experience a stretch in your spine and the twist in your spine, the closer you bring your legs up towards your right shoulder, the more compression you might feel in your hips, maybe more of a stretch across the outer left leg, maybe even some stretching in the inner leg line, the groin area. Really allow your jaw to be soft, your muscles soft. Big full breath in here. And slowly as you exhale, begin to bring your knees back upright. Oops, I don't want to hit Luca. Bring your hips back towards center. Bring your feet to the edges of your mat. Knock your knees together for a moment and pause. You'll notice that we've taken these more neutral shapes in between sides or in between poses. And this is known as sort of the rebound or resonance pose in Yin Yoga. It allows our body to just kind of absorb and integrate the practice that we've just done. It allows our fascia and our connective tissues to return to their more habitual state after we've applied some stress onto them via the stretch or sensation we've experienced in the previous pose. As you feel ready, walk your feet back together. Lift your hips up and over to the right side of your mat, keeping your shoulders flush again. Drop your knees over towards the left, maybe letting your left arm, left hand rest on the outside of your right thigh to kind of coax the knee and the leg down. Your gaze can be towards the ceiling or maybe looking over your right shoulder. And your right arm can be resting alongside you, maybe extending it long from the shoulder. Resting the right hand on your right ribs, or maybe even reaching the right arm long overhead. Finding what works for you and what feels maybe not necessarily the most comfortable, but a space where you feel some sensation within the right side of your ribs. Again, the further away your knees are from your left shoulder, the more you'll feel the twisting sensation in your spine. The closer your knees are to your left shoulder, the more pressure you might feel in your hips, maybe a stretch across the outside of your right leg, outside of your right hip. You'll notice that we did a lot of sort of like twisting and bending and arching, even some opening and closing. And so hopefully these movements have kind of helped you sort of rinse out the body, shedding anything that you don't need, releasing the things that you don't need, whether it's from your mind, from your body, whatever it is. To be somewhat cheesy, but also maybe borderline poetic. It's kind of like the leaves, right? They're really green and vibrant throughout the summer, and then they slowly begin to change color before they shed, preparing for the winter. So maybe the thoughts or sensations that you have in your body, maybe they've been really vibrant and energetic and now have started to maybe wane on you and started changing their colors, and now it's time to sort of shed them. That was a reach. I think it made sense. I hope it made sense. Big, full, deep breaths here, really breathing into the right side of your ribs. Take a big, full breath in. As you exhale, gently bring the knees back upright. Bring your hips back towards the center of your mat. You might hug your knees into your chest, curl yourself up into a little ball. Maybe rock from side to side, again, just massaging out your spine. I like to reach for my feet and really just kind of squish myself. And then just slowly begin to expand the body back out, extending your legs long on your mat, arms long by your sides. Grab a blanket if you need it. It might be a little chilly. I'm freezing. And fidget as much as you need to here to settle in for Shavasana, our final resting pose. Lift your head, tuck your chin toward your chest, lower your head back down to give your cervical spine some space. Take a few deep breaths. Again, releasing anything that you don't need. Allowing this practice to really have wrung you out. You might have your eyes open with a soft gaze, or maybe if it feels safe to do so, having your eyes closed. Relaxing all the muscles in your body. Allowing your feet and your ankles to be relaxed. All those strong muscles in your legs are soft. Your pelvis is weighted and heavy against your mat. Your belly is soft and naturally rises and falls with each breath. Your collarbones are spread, your heart is open. Your shoulders are weighted against your mat. Your arms, your wrists, your hands are soft. Your jaw is slack and soft. Your neck isn't holding any tension. Your eyebrows and your forehead are smooth. Allowing your whole head, your whole torso, your legs, your whole body to be supported by the earth beneath you. Meeting yourself where you're at. Breathing in a way that feels best for you. Slowly deepen your breath. Maybe soft sigh out the mouth as you exhale. Point your toes, reach your arms overhead. Give yourself a big good morning full body stretch. Reaching your arms and your legs in opposite directions and then gently releasing. Bend your knees, roll over to one side, pause on your side for just a moment with your eyes closed or with a soft gaze. As you feel ready, use your arms to prop yourself upright, coming into a seated position on your mat. Bring your left hand toward your heart, fingers spread wide. Right hand rests over left, fingers spread wide. Apply a gentle pressure here. Invite your spine to be really tall and long. Reach the crown of your head towards the ceiling, chin parallel to the floor. Shoulders aligned over hips. Offer your body some gratitude for being able to move in the way that it did today and the way that it supported you during this practice. Offer yourself some gratitude for making the space to do this practice today. Offer yourself gratitude for meeting yourself where you were at, for releasing anything that you did not need, anything that was no longer serving you in this moment today. And offer gratitude to those who practiced with you today virtually or alongside you. Take a full, deep, nourishing breath in. Exhale, release. Slowly lower your hands to your knees. Begin to blink your eyes open if they were closed, or slowly lift your gaze. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I wish you well. Wash your hands, drink plenty of water, get your flu shot if you can. Take good care of yourselves. I will be out on Monday the 26th, but I will return the following week. I'm not sure if anybody is covering. I don't know the date of the following week, but sometime in November. So since I won't be seeing you, happy Halloween. Take good care.